Hello folks, thanks for tuning in to the Overtaxed Taxpayer channel. Before I start my main subject about tariffs, I want to ask you folks a question about something pertaining to immigration. Has the news in the last few years been telling you lies, propaganda, or have they been telling you truth? Think about that for a moment. If they've been telling you lies and propaganda, and I'm speaking to the people who actually believe the news right now, what makes you think that they'll be telling you the truth today or tomorrow about what's going on in this world, about what's going on with the immigration problem? We got a bunch of activists, professional activists who are actually paid, politicians and news media outlets, also activists now, complaining about the symptom of what's going on in countries like Nicaragua and Mexico. They're complaining about the symptom and why we are not more accommodating to these people who are crossing our borders illegally. Yet, these so-called people who care, these activist groups, these news media outlets, although they address the symptom, people coming across our border, they never address the root cause. They cry about human rights, how they care about human rights, and donate to our charitable organization. We care about human rights. We'll use your money appropriately. They're not complaining about the human rights in our southern countries. They're not demanding that the Mexican government or the Nicaraguan government fix their countries. They're not complaining about the human rights there. No, because it's a tool. It is a tool to undermine Trump and this administration. They can care less about these immigrants. They can care less about the kids separated from the families. Trust me, I know these types of people. They don't care about these kids. They don't care about the families split up. It is a tool. Nothing more, nothing less. Otherwise, they would be demanding. No, better yet, the Mexican government would be begging our government for help fixing their country. Hell, our government, our military government is around the world fixing everybody else's problems. Why aren't we in Mexico fixing their problems like their drug lord problems? Anyway, on to my subject. I already mentioned that I don't believe the news media outlets have been telling us the truth about anything. And I always judge the fruit. You know, judge a tree by the fruit. And I'll tell you, I judged our news media outlets, and their fruit is rotten. It's a bad tree. They are trying to convince you that these trade wars are bad for you. And I said this in many videos. It is not about trade wars. Why does a company leave the United States to go to a working slave camp like India, Indonesia, Thailand, or China? It's the incentive to save money. It's the low cost. They lay off everybody here, move to those slave camps, legalized slave camps, make lots of money, and turn around and sell their products right back to you, the people they laid off. Oh, by the way, they don't pass that savings that they just made from cheap labor onto either. They don't do that. You know, since I was 15 years old, many years ago, I always was told and experienced firsthand how crappy stuff in India, Pakistan, Indonesia, China was made. Total junk, disposable garbage. And people are supposed to care what the tariffs of that junk coming in the United States is? Maybe they do now because nothing is made here in the United States. And maybe that's why we rely on that stuff coming in. And that's maybe why some people are a little nervous about the tariffs. But that's not the plan of this president. The plan is to remove that incentive to go overseas. Lay off people here and go overseas. His plan is to maybe bring those companies back here in the United States because they won't have an incentive to be there anymore. Hire more American workers. Produce more American-made products. Then we won't care about that Chinese garbage that we used to bitch about all the time. That is his ultimate plan, to bring back jobs to America. When you have more people in the United States working, the federal government's able to collect more taxes. And with those taxes, they're able to do more things. Fix our roads, fix infrastructure. But when everybody's laid off, they don't have a budget to work with anymore. Try to understand what Trump is trying to achieve here. And do not listen to the news media outlets. They've been lying to you about every other subject. Do not mistake them for telling the truth about tariffs. Who cares? Once we get those jobs back here in America, who cares what it costs to bring in some cheap Pakistani knife or some garbage tools from China? We'll have everything made here in the United States again. One last thing I want to mention. You could tell somebody who is scared, like in a fight or in an argument, you could tell they yell the loudest. Truly, the person who's calm is actually the guy who's winning. The one who's yelling the loudest. These trade wars. You got China and all the countries yelling at Trump. We're going to win this. We're going to win this. Does that sound like somebody who is confident or scared? They're scared. They know what's going on. Take care, folks. You have a great day, and I appreciate you tuning in to the Overtax Taxpayer channel.